Welcome to our Women in Local History Month, presented by Rebecca Johnson Law Offices in Marion, Kentucky, and the Earl C. Clements Job Corps Academy over in Morganfield. I'm Chris Evans, editor of the Crittenden Press, and we have the esteemed circuit judge, chief regional judge, Rene Williams here, and we're just very pleased to have her with us and
Glad to be here.
focusing on her here for Women in Local History Month. This is a series we have done all through March, and this will be our last go round. So this is just a great opportunity to hear from a judge. You don't, in your position, there's not too many times really you can speak.
No, there's
publicly.
not.
Yeah.
That's what I said. It's been a long time since I've spoke in public like this. So
And
appreciate the opportunity.
of course, this is your final go round. The last
is.
year, you're not seeking re-election.
I
You're
am
going
not.
to retire and take care of grandchildren, right?
Yes, I will have 5 by the time I retire. So December will be the end. After that, will make 33 years. So
33 years as a district judge and a circuit judge.
Yes.
And now, 18 is circuit, right?
I took over in 2004. I'm not.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
so I
so-
guess that's
so
right.
eight-
I'm not
eight-
very good at math.
Yeah, me either. I just know because I wrote an article
Oh,
in the paper
okay.
for it. So, tell us, Judge, how you got started in educating and pursuing the education to become a judge, as well as, what drew you to this career path?
Well, I never thought in a million years that I would be in this position when I graduated from high school. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I knew that I had to go to college because that's what my parents told me I had to do. So I did. And so I started out at Henderson Community College and took general courses, but an emphasis on business. And then I ended up transferring to Murray State and decided I would go the teaching route, be a teacher and become a guidance counselor. So I focused on business education and social work. And Murray had a great little program, a pre-student teaching program. So I did one class per week at Callaway County High School for a semester. And that taught me that I did not have what it took to be a teacher.
Tough job.
Tough job. And that one little experience, I knew that I could not do that. So hats off to teachers. They're very underappreciated. So then I thought, well, I'll switch and check into the social work. So I did a little internship as a social worker and did all the things social workers do. They had me do everything: dependency, neglect, abuse, elder abuse. Went into homes, and that taught me that I did not have what it took to be a social worker either. And they are very underappreciated and underpaid as well. So then I was just faced with the dilemma, okay, I'm my senior year in college, what am I going to do? So my dad had always told me I had to be either a lawyer or a doctor, and I knew it was too late for the doctor route.
Why do parents always say that?
I don't know, but so I knew I
Good
could do
money.
Good money, I guess, and I couldn't do the doctor route, so I said, okay, we'll give it a shot. So I had to change my major and do some different things my senior year, but applied for law school, applied for a job, and applied for MBA program, and I guess left it up to the higher powers and said whichever one comes first, that's what I'll do, and got the law school acceptance, and that's where I went.
And where'd you go to law school?
Louisville, University of Louisville. And so that was,
The rest is history.
the rest is history. So
So you could not have practiced law very long before you became a judge, because
No, I
you're
did
still a
not.
very young woman.
I did not. I came back and started practicing in Henderson with Elizabeth Vaughn. And she just threw me to the wolves, if I could say. And I practiced in several different counties and did defense work, did everything. But I particularly did not like doing family law. That's why I'm not a family court judge. And I did a lot of work in district court and did public defender work, and just felt like there were things that that job could contribute more to serving the public. So I guess I decided to run because I was so young and naive and didn't know what I was doing. But I took it on. I had no idea. Never wanted to be in politics. Still don't want to be in politics.
It's a shame to some great degree that a judgeship is considered a political position. If there was a fair way to appoint, it would probably make more sense.
And some states do appoint,
Yeah.
but Kentucky does not, so you have to run. So I threw my hat in the ring.
And tell the story about the farmer that you told me once. So.
Actually, I was trying to think where that was. I think it was at Coach's Corner in Sturgis, which is closed now. But I'm going around because at that point we didn't have the social media and Facebook, so that wasn't a way to campaign. You went to the coffee shops and you talked to people. So I bebopped in there one morning on my way, I think maybe to Crittenden County, and kind of a big burly guy. I wish I could remember his name. He just saw me come in and waved at me. So I went over there, and he said, "Are you that little girl that's running for judge?" And I said, "Yes, sir, I sure am." He said, "Sit down here." So just a table of farmers and smoke and the kind of old time. And we talked for a while, laughed, and they just wanted to know about me. Of course, then several of them after we talked knew my grandparents or knew somebody, just homecoming, I guess. But when I left, he turned around and he said, "All right, fellas, we got to vote for this little girl." So, it just made my day. I thought it was wonderful. But that was a positive experience. There's not always positive experiences on the campaign trail, but that one was a positive that I always stuck out in my mind.
And the Evansville Courier ran a story, said little girl becomes judge or something?
It said, and I have that article somewhere, but it said that little girl now to be called judge.
Yeah,
so.
Well, I think that headline may be in the Crittenden Press too this week.
Gosh.
So, it is a wonderful headline, and what a testimony to the opportunities that women do have today, and a lot of what we've talked about in this series is how just less than 100 years ago, women did not have these opportunities, and we are championing those opportunities that they have now, and would like to take this opportunity to recognize our partners in presenting this series. Rebecca Johnson, who was one of our Women in Local History last year, and she has been a practicing attorney here in Marion, Kentucky for 30 years. And you work with her quite often at the courthouse, and she specializes in estate planning, inheritance tax planning, powers of attorney, living will directives, revocable and irrevocable trusts, Medicaid qualifications, prenuptial agreements, estate administration, and probate, and other activities in court. A lot of things go on in court, Judge Williams. More than most people realize.
Definitely.
And there's a lot going on over at the Earl C. Clemens Job Corps too. They do a great job, and they're always looking for employees. They're always seeking full and part-time salaried positions. Those are teachers and administrative and custodial and substitutes, looking for all kinds of good, hard workers, as many people are around right now. But if you're interested in being employed at the Earl C. Clements Job Corps Academy over in Morganfield, check it out on the Crittenden Press website. There's a link to their job openings, or go to mtcjobs.com. That's mtcjobs.com. Judge Williams, let's get back into your career, and it began as the district judge. And tell our viewers and listeners exactly what is the difference. A lot of people do not understand the difference between district court and then circuit court, criminal court, civil court, family court, divorce court, Judge Judy's court, all those things. There's so many. And you got started, 1990?
I took office in 1990, January of 90. Yes, sir.
And then district court. So district court's kind of a lower court. Explain the
Well,
difference.
in Kentucky, we have 4 levels. District, circuit, then we have the Court of Appeals, and we have the Supreme Court. Those are the appellate courts. The district court is considered a court of limited jurisdiction because it's statutorily set out what specific types of cases they handle. And there's a lot more to district court than just speeding tickets and the criminal stuff that you see in the paper. They also do all the probate, wills, small claims, juvenile public offenses. When I did it, we also did what they do in family court. We did all the EPOs, DVOs, DNA, and everything, paternity, child support. But now that went to family court. But district court handles all misdemeanor cases, which are cases that carry time in the county jail. And then it handles arraignments and preliminaries for felony cases, which will eventually go to circuit court. So it's a very busy court, and I enjoyed it because one of the things I missed when I went to circuit, you deal more directly with the public in district court. That may sound funny, but folks that come through the court system aren't always bad folks. They're just folks that have issues, or even a will or estate. That's not anything that's bad. Sad, but not bad. But I enjoyed that part of it. But after I served there for 15 years, I was kind of ready for a little bit of a change. So, and then circuit court handles all felony cases, which means anything from a year to the death penalty, and then all civil matters 5,000 or over. And I guess we're called general jurisdiction because when you say 5,000 or over, that could be a property line dispute. It could be a wrongful death. It could be a personal injury. It could be a contract dispute, mortgages, that type of thing. So it's very general, and it's just different than district. It doesn't move quite as quickly, the cases, because the cases are a little bit more complex. And then, of course, family court handles all the divorces and adoptions and domestic violence and maternity and all the rest of that I don't want to do.
Well, a circuit judge really is, and I describe a circuit judge, I've had before, as perhaps the most powerful individual really in some of these small communities. Most people don't even realize it, because you can subpoena people, you can shut the jail down. I mean, you have the authority. You're a very important person, and that is an important position. And it's got to be difficult to sit on the bench when there are cases that would infuriate the average person, the child abuse cases, the murder and assault and things that are just needless types of crimes. And how do you maintain that? How do you get through it?
Well, my job is to make sure that the Constitution's followed, the statutes are followed, and I'm kind of like a referee, maybe. I'm making sure everybody's following the rules and trying to keep the playing fields level. So when I have some of these difficult criminal cases, I just have to focus on, I've got to make sure that everything is done correctly, however it turns out, because I don't want something coming back later that there was some mistake on my part as far as making sure everybody did what they were supposed to do. You do have to kind of remove yourself a little bit, because it becomes very depressing. Hats off to family court judges. I don't know how they do it day in and day out with all the children things, because I got kind of burnt out on that with when we did that in district court. That is very stressful, dealing with family issues. And of course, anything involving children is, sometimes you try to keep the straight face on the bench, but you go back and shed a tear or two sometimes, because it's just, you don't know. And again, folks that come through the system are not always necessarily bad people. They make mistakes. The circumstances are more than what meets the public eye. So you just got to look at everything and remember, my job is to be the neutral party, to be try to keep order, try to keep everybody calm and do their jobs.
Does being a woman sometimes maybe allow you to be somewhat more empathetic? I mean, you always hear women have, their feelings are different than men, but do you think that's helped you to understand and be empathetic in cases? Have you thought about that?
Well, I think sometimes women judges get accused of being more sympathetic to maybe mothers or women than fathers. And I don't think that's true, because I think they all take their oaths very seriously and try to treat everybody equally. I don't know that no, I don't think it's affected me that much, really.
Either way.
I've tried to, I guess maybe I've tried to make sure it didn't. Maybe I've thought about it more in that terms, that I don't want to appear that way, and just focused on following the law and doing what I think is right for the case and for the parties involved, and always the protection of the children.
Has it ever come up that issues that maybe someone accuses you of some issue that a female might be more sensitive to, or just in general, being a woman on the bench, has it ever created a problem for you? Has anybody treated you any differently?
I really can't say that they have. I mean, I was amazed to get elected as I did in our rural communities. I was surprised that people were so supportive of a young woman. I didn't, but they were, and they always have been. I mean, I have never felt or never been approached by anyone or saying that, well, you shouldn't be doing this because you're a woman, or you're not doing as good a job because you're a woman. I really can't say that I've ever had that happen. It may have been talked about at the coffee shop, I don't know, but no one has approached me with it, and I've been very thankful for that. Feel very blessed for that.
Well, I know I've certainly been in your courtroom many hours over the past
Yes, you have.
15 or 20 years, and I can say I can. There's nothing that gives me any indication that you are unfair. In fact, I think it's just been. It amazes me how you do. There's a line. And you're always there. Maybe a couple of cases that I can ever remember, and one was pretty recently where someone had violated the law, and maybe they had done so well after that in their personal rehabilitation, I guess you will, that maybe you've shown a little bit of leniency to them.
A little bit. So, I mean, sometimes
when you recognize those things, and how do you recognize whether those are really truly cases where those people have done better and are doing the right things, and not just pulling the wool over you? Well,
that's always a question.
Tough, yeah.
And sometimes there has been occasion, I have to say, when I've done that and it backfired, and so I'm hesitant not to do that unless I truly feel that this person has earned a little leniency. And I know which case you're talking about. Saw that fellow today, as a matter of fact, and he's still doing well so far. Knock on wood. You just hope that
is that your
happens.
Greatest fear, is to give someone reduce their bond, or to give them shock probation and they get out and they do something really bad after that?
When it is, because sometimes I'll hear of maybe a domestic violence shooting or something, and especially when I was district judge and DVOs, but still now, and I immediately want to find out who it is and did I let that person out, and it scares me to death about that. But had something like that happen in Union County years ago. Had a couple well standing in the community kept wanting to get their DVOs dismissed, but I wouldn't do it because there were a lot of issues involved, and so they were still under the DVO, and then the fella shot her and shot himself, and when I heard it, I just panicked, but I went back to the file, and I had not released the DVO. They were together in violation of it, but you don't ever want that to happen.
Sure.
As a judge, you just don't want that to happen.
That's where you end up on nowadays social media.
Yes.
Yes. It used to be national news.
And I know there's a lot of, particularly on social media, about the bond situation, and we have this administrative release program now that is from the Supreme Court. where when folks get out on that, the judges are not even contacted. We don't do that. We don't set those. And I know the general public doesn't understand that. And there's a push to go to a non-cash bond system where you only put non-financial conditions on folks. And I'm totally against that. I don't think that should happen. And I think judges should be consulted about the cases, but we'll see what our legislators do.
Yeah, the three branches of government.
Yes, yes.
Well, again, we want to call attention to our partners who make this series possible, the Earl C. Clements Job Corps Academy over in Morganfield, always looking for employees, full-time, part-time, from teachers, substitute teachers, administrative, custodial, all sorts of job openings over there. Give them a shout. You can find their link on the Crittenden Press website or go to mtcjobs.com. And also, Rebecca Johnson Law Offices here in Marion, Kentucky, respected legal advice for more than 30 years regarding estate planning, inheritance tax planning, probate, estates, prenuptial agreements, Medicaid, trusts, and much, much more. We appreciate them for helping make this series possible. We've had a great time, and we'll get back here and to begin kind of our final segment, Judge Williams. The time just flies.
It does. You're right. It does.
It really goes by fast. First of all, we've talked a lot about just the nuts and bolts of the judgeship and then the court, but I do have one question. You mentioned you were basically a referee. How do you create that rapport with not only the attorneys, the prosecutor and the defense attorney, but the defendants, and not belittle or demean them too? Because, like you say, they may just be people who made a mistake.
Sure.
So how do you do that? What's your secret? Do you work on that? Are you trained in that? What?
Well, judges are under a judicial code of conduct. We're supposed to be respectful to folks and do our jobs, have a judicial temperament, I guess you could say. But I think it just goes back to, said it this morning in drug court, that we all need to operate on the golden rule, do unto others as you would have others do unto you. And I understand each party there has a role, has a job to do. Commonwealth has their job, defense has their job. If it's civil, they have their jobs, and I respect that. And I look at the defendants, and I understand maybe they've been charged with serious things, but they are innocent until proven guilty, and they are a human being, and I feel like I need to treat them with respect and just treat them like I would want to be if I were standing in their shoes. So I don't know that that's anything that I learned professionally as much as just growing up and, based on my faith. So.
And is that one of the greatest challenges that you face as a judge, or is it like we talked about earlier, just dealing with the troubling aspects of some of these crimes and issues that you do? What's the toughest thing? What's the greatest challenge? Tough question?
That is a tough question. Well, I guess it is tough to figure out what the right thing is to do. I mean, I know I have the laws to follow, and sometimes I don't really have a choice in some of that, but there is always that thing we call judicial discretion, and I want to make the right choice that benefits everyone. Just for example, we had a sex abuse case last week, and there was a certain faction that wanted us to move forward and go to trial. But the parents of the child didn't really want to put that child through that. And they were willing to go along with the person entering a plea to a lesser thing. And, you get a little kickback from that. But in my mind, if I were the parent and that was my child, I mean, I just felt like I needed to respect the parents' wishes and knowing what's best for their child. And if they are satisfied with that, then that's what I felt that I should go along with and do. So, and every case is different. No case is alike. So you just have to do it on a case-by-case basis.
That is tough. And then, as you say, the general public sees the final sentence. The newspaper probably doesn't cover that well enough, do they, to give all the details?
Well, it's hard to give all the details. And there are many details that aren't, I guess it's when they're negotiating, and then the Commonwealth and the defense attorney will say, this is why we're doing this, but that's not something that you would necessarily see to be able to print in the paper.
And I'll mention just something I don't think we've mentioned yet is you are the judge, not just in Crittenden County, but in Union County and Webster County. So it's the entire circuit there, the 5th Judicial Circuit.
I'm a true circuit rider.
Yeah. Like John Wesley, the old preacher circuit rider. So let's take the last few minutes, and I know there are a number of programs and things that you felt like, and you mentioned this earlier, you saw some things that you wanted to affect some change. One of the things that, personally from my observations, the drug court. And I know you've been very instrumental in that, and you have mentioned to me some other people who were, or local folks. So I'll let you talk about that and some of the women that you've worked with and have been either worked with that have been your colleagues or someone that's influenced you. So talk about some of them as we close today.
Well, of course, Elizabeth Vaughn, who was a practicing attorney in Henderson that hired me for my first job.
Now, is she still practicing?
She has just recently retired, but she had practiced both in Hopkins and then relocated to Henderson and continued there. But she took a chance on me, and was a wealth of knowledge in so many ways, and so I have to give my hats off to her. And there have been a lot through the years, but as far as the drug court program, Randa Simpson, locally here, I first met her actually when she was working for Community Methodist Hospital, and they had a drug rehab unit at the hospital, and I had a close family member that was there. And so I met Randa through that, and I was still a practicing attorney, and began to learn more about addiction and all the problems. And I, of course, was already seeing that as a practicing attorney. So then as district judge, continued to see those problems. And in that role, I think when I say I see some changes, judges have an opportunity to promote programs to benefit the public. It really is a service type of job, and as district judge, I was involved in revamping the domestic violence laws in 1992 and trying to educate folks about that. But as the years went on, still addiction, the abuse, everything goes together. So when I got the opportunity to become circuit, Randa was very instrumental in pushing me to get the drug court program started, and we did. And she's been a great source throughout the years for that. But just all the women, there are some women judges that I've been fairly close with, and District Judge Jill Clark, who was from Lyon, Livingston, Trigg, and Caldwell, get all those in there. But just the women that practice law here locally, Rebecca Johnson, Brucey Moore, Julie Wallace, Judge Rogers now, they've all been inspirational. Everybody works hard, and that is something that is a little bit different. I've always felt like I had to work harder to prove that I deserved to be where I was and wasn't taking someone else's spot. And I think women in general, in all professions, a lot of professions do that. Hopefully that'll change one of these days. I don't know. But so I'm very proud of all the younger attorneys that we have and the programs that they start and do. And they continue to influence me. And of course, then I've just had my own family members that have been great influencers that always believed in me and always told me I could do anything I wanted to do. And that's, I think, so important for children in general, not just girls, but just to have someone that believes in you, and whatever you want to do, they tell you you can do it, so you do.
And your administrative assistant. I can't.
Oh,
I see you
Dava. Oh, yes.
oftentimes look at
Dava.
Dava.
Oh, I should. Yes, I can't believe I failed to mention her at
You
this
mentioned
point. I
her
mentioned
when
her
we
at the
yeah.
yes. Dava has been with me. It will be 26 years in November.
Mm-hmm.
We have raised children together. She has been by my side. A lot of folks call the office to talk to her and ask her the questions because they know that she knows as much as I do about what's going on. So she's been invaluable. And that's going to be one of the things I really miss is not seeing her on a regular basis.
Well, right now in our circuit, there 2 of the 3 judges are females.
Yes.
You mentioned
Judge Rogers,
and
yes.
Judge Daniel Hetty is the district judge,
Yes.
but now he is running for your job as
Yes,
circuit
he is.
judge. And
Unopposed.
So here's your last tough question. If you could, and you may do this, you may write him a letter and scoot it there on the bench. And what will be on that note that you leave Judge Hetty to help guide him through these tough and challenging times as a judge?
Well,
I should have given you an opportunity
yes,
to think about that.
Well, I have no doubt Judge Hetty will do just fine. He's already had his years in as district judge and does just fine. I guess really I would tell him to keep doing what he's doing because I feel like he's of the same mind frame that I am. I mean, I think he treats people with respect and follows the law and does what he needs to do. So, I know he'll do some things differently than I have done, and that's fine. He can make it his own. It may be time for a little younger blood to come in and do some things, but I have no doubt that he will do fine. Mm-hmm. Of course, I'll be there if he has questions or anything of that nature, and I plan to do the retired judges program. Maybe not right away, but
so you're a pinch hitter kind of.
Yeah, pinch hitter.
Come in and
the retired judges program is where, like, if you have a vacancy or you have an illness, more of a long-term thing than just a recusal, and go in and fill in. And, he's probably going to have some cases he can't handle that he handled as district judge. And I know Judge Woodall is doing that for Judge Red, who just got appointed to his spot in the 56th Circuit. And, we kind of be there and pitch hit for each other. And, but I know he'll do fine. I'll have to think about if I have any unique advice I could give him.
Yeah, well, leave him a note, and you can leave it at 3 different places.
I can.
It could be 3
That's
different
true.
Ideas. So
I can do that.
We certainly appreciate the opportunity to have Judge Williams here. It's been an honor and a pleasure to watch her work in circuit court over the last several years, and in district court before that. And we wish her well in retirement, and job well done.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, so we also want to thank our partners, Earl C. Clements Job Corps Academy over in Morganfield. Always looking for employees, competitive salary benefits package and advancement opportunities over there, in all sorts of types of jobs, from substitute teachers, full-time teachers, custodial, administrative. You check them out on the Crittenden Press website. There's a link to their job openings. And also Rebecca Johnson, the law offices here in Marion, Kentucky for over 30 years. Appreciated and trusted legal advice from Rebecca Johnson in any number of legal matters, including estate planning, Medicaid, trusts, living wills, powers of attorney, real estate, and much, much more. Judge Williams, again, thank you so much, and enjoy your retirement and enjoy your grandchildren.
I plan to. Thank you.
All right, thank you.